name's Missy. I'm an extrovert who loves books and loves people, and that is what I'm going to be doing today, talking about books. And I'm going to be talking about a your internet footprint. um, Thanks, B. You always spice things up. I'm going to be doing a Wattpad book review today. What is Wattpad? It is, I know I explain this every single time, but just in case anybody who's on here is unfamiliar with Wattpad, it is a place where people can post their books. It's kind of like a self-publishing website, and you can post your book for free, and you get people can read your book, and you get for people like me, you get to read other people's books for free, and you can comment on them, and you can talk directly to the authors, and you can vote on them, and it's super super fun. So it's nice because just like and it's like people from all over the world. It's so nice. I mean, one of my favorite books is written by an Australian, another one a Haitian. I've read books from people who live in Germany, and it's so nice, like people from all over the world read or write books and post them, and then read your books, and it's just a total blast. So it's really really nice. So I have posted a review book. So anybody who wants their book to be specifically reviewed, their amateur book to be reviewed, they can do so by saying, "Hey, can you review my book?" And so that's what I did. Am I qualified? No, not even a little bit. My only qualification is as a reader. I have absolutely no education whatsoever in literature or writing or anything like that. I simply love to read books. So that's all of my expertise, is just and my advice and my notes are as a potential reader. What could one woman in the US, what would they think about your book? So today we're going to be talking about the amazing Mango King. We pull up his book. Hang on. Currently discussing. This book is the 5-year white belt. Again, written by MangoKingMinos. When he said what I had asked on my form, say a little bit about yourself, and this was what he put. He is a marathon finisher as of 2018. Already accomplished more than I will probably ever accomplish in my life. A Brazilian jiu-jitsu competitor, a recent graduate with a bachelor's in marketing last year. And now he wants to add writing a book to his list of accolades. So we're talking about somebody who really knows what they're talking about as far as Mango King goes. That is his background. And so this is it doesn't look like it. It's just because it's just a picture of if you see this picture of a white belt on your screen, that is the cover of the book. It doesn't say it, but that is the 5-year white belt book cover. So as far as I'm just going to get right into my review here. And I actually wanted to start with a book cover and title review first. First of all, the book cover, man, is so it's great, but it needs to actually have the title on it, in my opinion, because it's like nice and simple. It's just a picture. It's not overcomplicated the way that some Wattpad book covers can get, but you really do need to put the name of the book somewhere on that picture, because even right now it's confusing. I even thought, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make him a cover. I'm just going to use this picture, and I'm going to put like in big black letters, the 5-year white belt by Mango King TV or MangoKingMinos, and put it on there. And then I decided not to, because that would be weird. As far as book covers go, it's not terrible, but it also, you should put the title on the cover, so more people will be more likely to read it. As far as the title goes, I like the title, the 5-year white belt. So my initial impression on the title was, oh, this is going to be a comedy. about somebody who really wanted to, learn karate or something, and then was really bad at it, so they could never get past white belt. Like somebody like me would maybe try and get a black belt or something and just never make it past white belt. I don't have the fire in me, I don't think. But anyways, that was my initial impression. I do think that it is a good, from what I've read of the book, I do think that it is a good title. I like it. I think it's interesting title. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. This is not a completed book that I reviewed, and normally I only review completed books, although I didn't last week, and I'm of course not doing it this week, but next week I will be reviewing a completed book. But the Mango King said that it is we're about halfway through the book, because it's going to be really, really short. And according to Wattpad, of the 9 parts that are available, it should only take you 38 minutes to read. And I can attest to that. It did not take me very long to read at all. So it's a very, very quick read, and we're only about halfway through. So it's eventually going to be about an hour and a half long read. Very, very short. Now, the summary that is provided by the author is this. The black belt is regarded highly across any martial art. Years of training and practice are required across any discipline to reach this goal. Roughly 1% of the world practices martial arts, and 16-year-old Julie Kahn likes to keep herself on the side of the majority. When her quiet life is turned upside down by a street fight, Julie decides to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at her local gym as an answer. It says 18 plus, and the trigger warnings are depictions of violence and sexual assault. The tags are basketball, BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, female protagonist, fighting, Jiu-Jitsu, martial arts, MMA, and young adults. And I actually do have some recommendations for tags on this as well. And of course, do whatever you want. And I'm definitely not the authority on this because I have no idea how to tag things. But I do think that it should have FMC, which stands for female main character, because some people do actually search for FMC. Camingo Phage, which is actually coming of age. You should do that one. Self-defense, strong female lead, women in fiction, bully, perseverance, personal growth, resilience, and determination. I think that those would, from what I've read. Okay, perfect. You want to hear the tags and suggestions? Good, because I just told you them. Sorry about the delay on the chat. So if you don't want to hear anything, it's probably too late. I'm just going. So anyways, personal growth, resilience, and determination. I think that those are good. Could be good tags. I personally I don't know how the tags are for searching, as far as a search algorithm, but I think that I always read the tags on a book before I read it, because it tells me so much about what the author thinks is important about this book. What makes this book interesting to read? So keep that in mind when you are tagging your book, or when you're even choosing a book to read, that the tags are why the author thinks you should read it. And that tells me a lot. So a lot of times I'll go and oh, this book looks really interesting. And then I'll look up the tags, and it'll be something like, oh, bully, age gap romance, steamy. And I'm like, oh, never mind. I don't want to read that, because we'll have a really interesting looking summary, and then it'll have the tags, which actually tell me a bit more about the vibe of the story. But anyways, I think that you should add that, because right now you're just focusing on the actual technical stuff, which is the sport. There's a female lead. It's about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's all you need to know, right? But no, there's so much more to the story than just that. So anyways, those are my recommended tags. And I think there's you can have a ton of tags on Wattpad. I'm not sure what the limit is, but they recommend at least 10. So I don't know. I don't think you have 10. But anyways, go crazy with the tags. Add as many as you think you can. Also, as far as summaries go, that is a good summary. However, was it a street fight that was the inciting incident, or was it, it was on the basketball court, so I don't know if that counts as a street fight, but we'll get into that later, but I'm not sure if that is necessarily an accurate summary. I think you can have up to 20, could be off by a few. Yeah, I feel like you can have a crap ton of tags. I don't think that there's a limit. But Anyways, that's what we're working with. This is the story that we're going to be reviewing today. Now, I already told you what my thoughts on the book cover and the title, which I think are actually both great. But again, on the book cover, you should put your the title and your name. There's definitely a limit, but it's more than 10. Yeah, because they recommend putting at least 10 on Wattpad. Sorry if I'm responding directly to the chat, if that's confusing to anybody, by the way. Okay, so the plot overview, that from everything that I've read, this is kind of like how I'm going to summarize it. So it starts out as a second person narrative. And I know you've heard of first person, which is the saying like, oh, I touched the cup and it felt hard in my hands or whatever, so that's first person. And then there's third person, which is she touched the cup and it felt hard in her hands. Like that's third person. Well, there's second person, and that's more like staring directly at the camera, breaking the fourth wall, saying, look, I know what you think. I touched the cup and it's directly in my hands. So it like starts out like the first couple of paragraphs are in second person, which is fun. There's not a lot of popular books that are written in second person. I actually looked it up because I was like, what is like the most popular second person narrative book? There's not a lot of them. I feel like it's more of a it's like portions of books are in second person. Oh, actually, I mean, I just read Notes from Underground, which I think it starts out as like second person because it's like this guy from under the floorboards is talking directly to the reader. That's second person. However, it doesn't stay in second person. And in Notes from Underground, which is Fyodor Dostoevsky, and then this one also doesn't stay in second person. It's basically just like the first few paragraphs and then like a little bit into like the bulk of the not the bulk of a book, but the bulk of like the first chapter, and then it goes directly into first person. So I think that as far as like the narrative goes, that's kind of what we're working with there. I'm sorry, and then it goes into traditional third person. It doesn't say like, no, it is, I'm sorry, excuse me, it's first person. Sorry. It's third. I have in my notes it's third person, but I'm pretty sure it's first person from what I remember reading. The main character is an overweight basketball enthusiast. She's 16 years old, and she is playing basketball with her church when a man touches her inappropriately in the middle of the game. She confronts him immediately in front of everyone, in front of like the entire people who are playing this church basketball game. They end up getting in a physical fight. This grown man and this 16-year-old girl get into a physical fight. The grown man beating her up again in the middle of a church basketball game. And her parents, the main character's parents, are embarrassed of her and ask her to apologize to the man in question. And this leads to the main character wanting to never feel that way again. So she learns jujitsu, only it's much more challenging than she expected. And the book is about her journey, learning a new sport and dealing with her issues. And that's about halfway into. You know what? I was surprised too. Excuse me, cats are cute. Oddly shaped Mike. Isn't it cute? It's a little ball. Yeah. Yeah, cats are cute. I was surprised too when I found out that there were books written by people other than Tolkien. I was like, what? Other people know how to write? It's insane. It's insane. There's like a whole bunch of people that know how to write. It's crazy. Including Mango King, who we're reviewing his book right now. So anyways, it turns out that learning jujitsu is a little bit harder. The mic sounds good too. Thank you. It's not very expensive, so I was really glad at it. And I don't know if you can tell, but I got a web camera for Christmas, and I didn't even ask for one. So it looks way better now. It doesn't look like I'm standing in a shed or something. It looks bad. But anyways, the girl doesn't learn jujitsu very easily. I think that's why it's called the 5-year white belt. Although I think, because I'm only about halfway into it, as I stated, I've got through chapter 9, which is the only thing that's available on the website on Wattpad. So I think that it's not just that she struggles athletically to do it, because this is a very like tenacious girl. The main character is very like determined. She was very determined with basketball, it seemed like. And I think that has gone, this is like her tenacity has transferred from basketball to jujitsu. So it's not because she's not determined, because she definitely proves that she's very, very determined. Even despite being like apparently overweight, she's still very athletic. And I know there's plenty of people out there who like love sports, but they're still overweight. So I don't think that this is a story about getting healthy. This is a story about this girl who's dealing with all this stuff. So I think that she's not moving past the white belt, and this is based off of also what was provided in chapter 9, which actually skips forward like 2 years into the future. Jumps forward into the 2 years into the future. I think that she also doesn't want to move past a white belt for some reason, and so I am interested, and this is up to chapter 9, I am interested to see why she's struggling to move past her white belt, I think, into blue belt. I don't know the belts, excuse me. But I want to know why she's moving, why she's not moving on. And it could be, because of all of the issues, like she's not ready to confront her attacker, really. Even though she was very like, you just touched me inappropriately in the middle of a basketball game, called him out, went into a fist fight. But then I feel like there's more that obviously needs to be done there. So I'm excited to see what happens there. Anyways, that's the plot. That's my plot review. The character review is the main character is Julie Kahn. Again, 16 years old, overweight, loves basketball. She's sensitive, but persevering. She's been bullied a little bit. I think that one of the words that, or one of the, bad nicknames that she gets is dumpling defense, because she's overweight and loves basketball, which is clever. Kids are so cruel, but they can be very clever. Mr. Own, and excuse me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, Mr. Own is the antagonist. He is a grown man that touches her inappropriately and attacks her. And it's like her old best friend's dad or something like that, is the one who treats her like this. OMG, that's so mean. LOL. Notice the LOL at the end of that vein, baby. Yeah, no, that is mean. Dumpling defense. But you know what? Our author came up with it, so kudos to him for coming up with a nice, mean. I got brace face. That was like the most creative anybody got with me. But I had full blown out braces and headgear. It was distracting from everything else that they could have made fun of. So anyways, Mr. Own is the antagonist, her friend's dad. And it's funny because I was talking to my husband about this, and I was trying to explain, like, because it's not, I wouldn't say it's like a sexual assault, but it's definite, or maybe okay, it is a sexual assault. He touches her inappropriately in the middle of the game, this guy, and he doesn't do it, I think, to sexually. He does it because he's pissed at the girl for like winning the game. So he does it as like a creepy power move. So anyways, the worst. You immediately hate him. Obviously, you're not introduced to this character to be sympathized. Yes, you nailed it. It's a power move. Yes, I nailed it. Well, bravo on the writing there. The next character I'm going to highlight is Harry. He is the friendly jujitsu instructor. There's definitely a lot more to his character that I'm hoping that the author dives into in the rest of the book. But he's very like bubbly, and then also kind of, I mean, this dude's kind of hardcore. He's a jujitsu instructor, and I think that he might be like happy, but like prone to violence or something. So I don't know everything about Harry, but his character is interesting. He has a very, very small role. And then there's Logan, who is, when this starts out, again, she's 16. He's a middle schooler is the way she describes him. The main character describes him as a middle schooler, a green belt, which I have no idea how high up that is, by the way, and is her sparring partner. Smiles happily while kicking your teeth in. My kind of guy. Yeah, not my teeth. Not the ones I worked so hard on. Anyway, so Logan is the sparring partner. He like offers to help Julie get better, and he acts like very reluctant, I guess, reluctant to help her, but he does help her a lot, and like takes time out of his day to help her learn, like get better at jujitsu and everything like that. So I really like him. There's nothing really I don't like about Logan. He's awesome. He's just this like young kid who like wants to be like the best jujitsu guy. And I feel like there's probably a word, jujitsu guy, other than a jujitsu guy. But anyways, he's talented, and he's young, and he's, again, similar to Julie, tenacious, ambitious, wants to be great. And also he's good to Julie, despite not ever being friendly to her. He's not like, hey, you're doing a great job. He's kind of more like, you suck at this. You need to do this differently, you know? And so that is the kind of friend you want. I don't care if you're nice to me. I need you to be real with me. And that's Logan. So anyways, those are our characters, our main characters. It really just focuses on Julie and Logan, because the bulk of it is just like at jujitsu. And then Mr. On, who is the piece of crap grown man who is pissed off about losing a church basketball game. So he's got issues. So the hook of this book, of course, is the inciting incident in the first chapter. It happens very quickly. You're hooked, I think, very, very quickly in this book, as far as why should I read this? Why is it interesting? What's this book about? I think that the author gets directly to that. Mr. On attacks Julie in front of everyone. It attacks her in like a really gross, terrible way, you know, and attacks a girl, and then she's expected to apologize to him for being like the aggressor, because of course nobody saw that he touched her. She said, hey, what are you, some pedophile? Like, she like goes after him immediately, and like, more power to you, because when that stuff happens, you're in your head, you're like, no, that didn't just happen like that. He didn't do that on purpose, right? And you're confused, and you're like in denial. Anybody who's ever experienced that is like, nobody reacts like that. I mean, in my experience and the experience of other people that I've talked to, your brain doesn't like register what the heck is going on. Julie, on the other hand, immediately goes after this guy, and is like, period, she has to stand up for herself. Yes, totally has to stand up for herself. And amazing that instinctively she does. And this is a girl who, this is very early on in the first chapter. So as you're introduced to the main character, she is loves basketball, loves to play basketball, is a huge part of the basketball team. They bully her relentlessly for her weight, call her dumpling defense, and then, like just make her feel bad. And she cries a lot, but she still plays on the team. So she's like affected by this stuff, but she perseveres. So I think, and again, perseverance could be a good tag for this book. But anyways, that is the main character. So you like her, you're like, okay, she's not like typical, like, oh, poor me, I'm the victim. And she's not like, oh yeah, I'm so amazing, everybody bow down, I'm the best. She's complicated, which real people are complicated. Real characters are complicated. Rooting for her, I'm rooting for her too. It's hard not to like her. There's really nothing not to like about the main character. So good job on the main character. The strengths of this book are that it's well written, easy to follow, well paced, interesting subject matter. I mean, there's a great structure to this book. So it's definitely I would say it's higher quality for Wattpad for sure. Like, it's so like, the author definitely knows how to write. There's several, and I have my favorite quotes, of course, like I always do. There's several instances where I'm like, oh, this is nice. Like, this is nice to read. It's well written. There's not a lot of grammatical, spelling, or punctuation errors. It's interesting subject matter. The author is a subject matter expert as a jiu-jitsu competitor, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu competitor. So you're getting like kind of insider information, which I love because I don't know anything about Brazilian jiu-jitsu. We watch MMA fights maybe 4 times in the last decade. And so that's as much exposure. I mean, Conor McGregor, I think, is a great character. So every once in a while, I'll watch clips of him talking crap. But other than that, I know, and that's not really saying I know anything about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm just trying to tell you, I know nothing about this sport. I didn't even know that there were like belts to rank in this sport. So that tells you something. I love reading books about something that I know nothing about, which is very, very cool that there is the author who, of course, knows probably nearly everything that there is to know about this subject, and we get a little inside scoop to it without actually having to work out and become a jiu-jitsu person. So that's always nice. So anyways, this book, I think that this book is great. So I'm trying to think of like what I really, really like about it. I don't know. It's an interesting subject. It's well written. It's so well paced. There is something happening that I was interested the entire time I read the 9 chapters of this book. I wasn't like, oh, I think I want to take a break. No, I just read the entire 38 minutes, according to Wattpad, of this book. It didn't have any lulls. It didn't stay like too high too long. You very much kind of like see the natural flow of this story. Now, I feel like it definitely needs some filler. And I don't mean filler as in like, oh, just randomly talk about this and this and this. I want more character development. So the book focuses on like kind of she's learning jiu-jitsu, and the main character Julie is learning jiu-jitsu. And so you get to learn about like, oh, this is taking hard work. I'm trying this and this and this technique, and it's not working. And I'm meeting this person who's trying to help me, even though he's not terribly pleasant. And, you're getting into that. I want to know more about Julie. I want to know more about what she's feeling. And I do feel like the author does a really good job of like, there's no telling. It's all showing. It's showing. That's another thing that's great about this is like, it doesn't like scream amateur very loudly. It's like, I think that this book is pretty good. I want to know more about Julie. I want to know what's driving her to try so hard to learn jiu-jitsu. And it goes back to the inciting incident, right? She hates Mr. On still. And there's a certain point where she's practicing and she's like picturing beating up Mr. On. I think that that's her goal. Is she doesn't want to just confront him. She wants to beat the crap out of him. She wants to win the next fight that they have. Like in her head, she's planning, the next belts thing. Like she's very, very, that's her determination. On top of, I think that's a part of her personality, just based off of her experience with basketball, which is a very small part of this book, by the way. It's only like the inciting incident talks about basketball, and I think it's a good background character for her, but it doesn't talk about it very much afterward. But I want to know, when I say filler, I want to know, what do her parents think about this? Is she mad at her parents for abandoning her and making her apologize to him? Is there a bigger reason why she didn't tell her parents specifically that Mr. On touched her inappropriately in the middle of all of this? What about her old best friend? Is she worried that, her friend knows about her dad, or is her friend mad at her for Hannah, I think her name is her friend mad at her for, getting in a fight with her dad? I don't know about you. If one of my best friends got in a fight with my dad, I want to know, like, why, why did you, was basketball really did the basketball game really get that heated to where you guys were, getting in a fist fight in the middle of a church game? Like, that's kind of interesting. How does she doesn't go to church after that, but her parents still do. So how is this affecting her view on religion and all of that? Like, this is all stuff that I'm curious about and I would like to know more about. And the book is very, again, very, very well paced, as in it's moving in a very natural way toward what I'm assuming is the climax. Yeah, I haven't gotten to that part yet. And it's interesting to read, and it's great. I want to know more. I want more of the character stuff. I want more of the background. I want to be more invested in her, not just relying on that one inciting incident. I want to relate to Julie, So anyways, that's some of my notes. The opportunities for improvement, apart from just adding filler, are the opening few paragraphs. No, I mentioned this earlier. The first few paragraphs are they're in second person. And I like that style. I like the breaking of the fourth wall. I think it's very casual. I think it kind of puts it's kind of like the author's getting down to your level. As a reader, I like it. And I don't think that there is any issue with transitioning from second person to first person or second person to first person. I think that that's actually what happens the majority of the time that a author is in second person. I don't think that the entire book remains in second person. I think that there are just occasional breakings of the fourth wall, which you could continue to do, because that is the only time that happens in the book, is in the first few paragraphs. But that style does not match at all with the rest of the book. The rest of the book is I wouldn't say it's not casual, but it's good. Like, the rest of the book is written well. And it's very the language it flows nicely. It's easy to read. It's, very clear, but also, kind of beautiful. And sometimes, so anyways, I would just adjust the first few paragraphs, and I think that you'll snag more readers, because it is shocking how little readers are on this book. It could be because it's so brand new. But yeah, there's not a lot of readers on this book, and I think that there definitely should be more. So if you are watching this, check it out. It's 38 minutes of your time. You should read this book. I'm going to probably just read it again and add my comments. And I always say that, and I almost never do, because I'm always moving on to the next book. I have 10 billion books, but I should at least go in and add my votes. But anyways, I think that the opening few paragraphs could use a little bit of work, just so that it matches the quality of the rest of the book, because it's funny. A lot of times you read something and the first few paragraphs are like, oh, this is intriguing. And then you can tell that the author is like, oh, I wrote my beginning. And then they just kind of write the rest a little bit more lazy. And I feel like it's kind of swapped, because I feel like the rest of the book is well written, and that those first few paragraphs are interesting, but also a little incoherent. And it's kind of hard to follow what's going on. And so if you're catching a reader who's like, I don't really know what's going on, it's probably, then they're thinking the whole book is probably going to be like that. They'll stop reading after the first few paragraphs. So I would definitely adjust the first few paragraphs of your book. In chapter 1, the timeline is a little bit messy and difficult to follow. There's a discussion of Hannah and Julie being friends in the past, and it mixes somehow with the present. And when I was first reading it, I was like, oh, so this is why they stopped being friends. But it's kind of no, this isn't why they stopped being friends. They apparently stopped being friends a while ago. So is it relevant to the plot why they stopped being friends? If it is, I would still clean it up a little bit, because it was just a little bit confusing. Chapter 2 in the book is way too short. This is the chapter where Julie is expected to apologize to Mr. On for attacking him, and getting in this heated physical altercation in the middle of a basketball game. And it's and you don't even really get to see the, you really don't even get to see the interaction between the two. And it's kind of crazy, because that is something you would totally want to see. I want to feel how uncomfortable, embarrassed, ashamed, angry. That is an opportunity when she sees him again to feel all those things again, to really sit inside of that. I mean, and I've said this before, and I'll probably say it a million times again. If you can get me to feel something, I'm hooked on your book. I'm going to think things about your book, good or bad. I mean, of course, if I'm just feeling bad things throughout the course of your book, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, it's really good, but I hated it. I'll never read it again. And then there's people oh, I fell in love with this character. That's how if you're feeling something, that's how you're going to get your, that's how you're going to hook your readers and keep them and get rereads, and they'll read your sequels and stuff like that. That is how you get your people. So, chapter 2, I would. I would include more detail on how that little apology went with Mr. Owen. Apparently he apologized too for just, overreacting. Man, oh man, what an a-hole. I mean, you go to jail, dude. You attacked a minor after, molesting her. Like, that's important. That's not just, oh, I'm sorry, I lost my cool about the basketball game. Like, dude, you're a grown freaking man. And yeah, I obviously hate him. So you made me feel something. Great job, author. But anyways, she should feel betrayed, alone, all of those things. I'd be furious. I would be furious if my parents were like making me apologize to somebody like that. And I can tell you right now, my personality, I'd be like, heck no. Hell no. Will I ever apologize to them? They can die. I will be rooting for their death. I hope it's slow and painful and embarrassing for them. And I hope that, their children are embarrassed of them as well. I would just be rooting for all of the horrible things. But maybe Julie is a bit better of a person than I am. I don't know. That would be me. It made me feel something. What? Anyways, that is my, that's what I think that chapter 2 needs. You need to weave the why she's, and this goes into my filler talk. You need to weave the why she's doing things into the chapters a bit better. Right now, it's like, chapters 3 through 9 are all about learning jujitsu, and it's actually fun to read. It's not like it's very technical, and it's still fun to read. So that good job there. But I want to feel the emotion behind it. I want to be reminded of why this is so important. I want, if she is feeling embarrassed because she hasn't figured this out yet, I want to feel that with her. I want to sit there with the character and have a hard time with her. I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment on that. But that is what I would like. I love the part when Julie is picturing Mr. Own, like picturing hurting him, because that's like, oh yeah, this is why we're doing this. We're not just doing this because suddenly she wants to learn how to fight. She's interested in a new sport. No, she's doing this because of the inciting incident, which is really important. So I want that weaved a little bit more in there as a reader. And I think that is what's going to elevate this story from like pretty good for Wattpad to pretty great for Wattpad. And there's also a lot of I statements. I think that this is in the second chapter. There's like one paragraph that has like 7 I's in it. Like I did this and I did this and I did this and then I did this. And it actually doesn't come off as natural. But I think just based off of the way the rest of the book is written, I just know that, the author is capable of like writing really well. So I think that one is like 1 or 2 paragraphs where I was like, dang, that's a lot of I statements. And then the fact that she was bullied in basketball, and I'd figure out a way to tie the fact that she was bullied in basketball and into her struggles of learning jujitsu, because she was bullied. She loved basketball, and even though she was bullied doing it, she just loved the sport so much. In jujitsu, she's struggling to learn jujitsu. Are those tied together? If it's relevant to the plot, then it should be included. It's obviously, I think it's important to her character, because I found that interesting, the fact that she was bullied and still loved the sport so much. Because if I was bullied, I'd be like, I'd quit. I'd be like, I don't need this negativity in my life, but that would be me. Again, I'm just trying to sit in this character. And if it's not relevant to the plot, maybe it should be taken out. I don't know. I just feel like it should be weaved more into, she was really good at one sport. She's changing sports entirely. Did that incident completely rob her of all of, the incident with Mr. Own completely rob her of all of the joy that she felt with basketball, even though the bullying never did? It was him that did it. Now she can never play basketball again. Like, what? I want to know more about that. I want to know more about the basketball, because it does seem relevant as the thing that she was passionate about and then no longer does. And then how did Mr. Own ruin it? Or is her struggling to be good at jujitsu because she was so good at basketball, and or was she naturally good at basketball, or did she struggle with that as well? And she's remembering the discipline that it required for jujitsu. I don't know. I want to know those things. So, anyways, those are actually all of my notes on this book. I really liked it. And let me get into my favorite quotes, actually. So this one hit me hard, and I wish I could I should have done the fun little Pinterest, quote pictures and shared them with you guys, because I feel like it would have a better impact, because there's a lot of great quotes in this one. But this one was, I felt drunk on poison. And I loved that, because she's feeling all these terrible things. The main character is feeling all these terrible things, and I felt drunk on poison. I loved that. I thought that was incredible, because it, you feel that. That is what is that? 5 words? And I felt that, oof, poor girl, just and everybody's felt that way too. It feels like bile's gone directly into your bloodstream when you're really, really ridiculously upset about something important. That's how it feels, is you feel drunk on poison. I loved that. I was like, this is going to be good type of a quote. My next favorite quote is, this is when she's learning jujitsu and she's not doing so hot. The remains of my confidence were minced and diced into inconspicuous molecules. And it's like, who out there has felt oh yeah, you've not done well at something, and then whatever was left of your confidence is gone. Man, I feel that. And it's painful, when you're whether you're trying something new or you make yourself vulnerable in some way and it doesn't work out. I thought that was a really good way to put that. I love, okay, this is not my last quote, but this is my second to last quote that I really, really liked. This is when she's doing jujitsu and she's practicing or whatever, she's sparring with somebody, and this is when she actually finally does a move that actually works, because the entire, for months and months, nobody taps out but her. She's always the first one to tap out. She never ever beats anybody. And this time, this is what she said. And this is, I forget, it's chapter 7. So you're in chapter 7 and this is 5 full chapters of her practicing jujitsu and never making any progress, according to her. Anyways, this is what she said. The man flailed weakly side to side. I compressed my legs with force and held my breath as I squeezed. One glorious second passed by the other until the golden moment arrived. And then it's new paragraph. He tapped. And I remember being I was literally giddy during this moment. It was such a buildup to this moment where somebody actually tapped out. Yes, I'm so proud of her too. I was so proud of her during this moment. It was, again, excellent buildup. Bravo, author. I absolutely loved the way that her pop or whatever, for her very first tap was it was I loved it. I was so, so happy about the way that was written, the buildup. I was excited for her. And of course, she didn't just explode into this amazing jujitsu artist, martial artist. Jujitsu person. She didn't just get everything right from then on. And I think she still ended up, losing a lot after that still, but that was a huge, huge moment. I loved it. And I was so well done. And that was a great part of the book for me. And then this is another one where this is after she finally, taps somebody out and she's kind of found this new community with the jujitsu people, and she's hanging out with Logan, who again is not terribly friendly towards her. But he they're obviously friends, they're not your traditional friends, but they're friends with each other. Anyways, so they're outside, and he says something you're a fighter, we're jujitsu people. And I'm so bad. I know that there's a word for this. I want to say we're jujitsu competitor. I'm losing my pronoun for this, but anyways, I'm a jujitsu person. Practitioners, is that what it is? Anyways, he's we are whatever belts, but you are a fighter. He was I knew it immediately. And it was like, and this is what she said: the chill bit my skin as I stared at the night sky, but for the first time in months, I felt warm. And I was like, oh yeah, like being seen in that light for what she wants to be seen as, and to just feel kind of strong after being so weakened by the inciting incident. I loved that, because the author does a really, really good job of showing the important moments when they're important. Like, pay attention to this, reader. It's important. I want more of it. I want more of I want to feel more of what Julie's feeling, because every time I did, I was happy. Of course, I don't know how to do that and still have the amazing job of the impact that it does when we do feel what Julie's feeling. But anyways, those are my favorite quotes, especially the "I felt drunk on poison." I really liked that one. That was a good one. So in conclusion, my big question when I read these, and whether or not I liked it or not, was this fun to read? Because I am looking for entertainment. I am looking for, was this fun to read? I don't want to read something stupid and long and complicated. If it makes me smarter, I don't read a ton of nonfiction. And if I do read nonfiction, it better be fun to read, because I do actually have nonfiction that is fun to read, but I refuse to read a textbook, right? Was this fun to read? Yes, it was fun to read. It was easy to read. It's an interesting subject, and I am invested in seeing how the character is going to grow and confront her attacker, as well as the people who hadn't been there for her. Like, I'm invested in this, and the main character. I'm invested in the book. So yes, I did like this book. Yes, it was fun to read. Yes, I do think that the people who are watching this should check it out. I think it's a good one. So that is the 5-year white belt. So Mango, I know you're watching. I hope that I did your book justice, because I do think that you have a talent, and I'm looking forward to more of what you write. And I will be following up on this book once it's finished. So definitely ping me and let me know when it's done, so I can finish her off and see what happens to Julie, and see Mr. Own get his butt kicked, or whoever is the proxy. Maybe somebody else pisses her off at some point, and she gets to relive everything that she wait, thank you. I wanted to wait until your review was over before I said you put the wrong title in your stream. Did I seriously? What did I put? Did I do a typo? The 5-year black belt? Jeez Louise, you should have said something. I would have fixed it. How do I fix it now? I'm too new to this. Dang it. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mango King. You deserve better. The 5-year black belt. Ugh. Bummer. Let me see if I can fix this. Let me figure this out, okay? Jeez Louise. I have no idea how. I might have to do it afterward. Edit quick actions. I'm gonna get it later. The 5-year black belt. That's not as interesting as the 5-year white belt. The 5-year white belt is an actually interesting topic. The 5-year black belt is like, what? Did it take you 5 years to become a black belt? Because I feel like it takes a lot longer to become a black belt. But I don't know. Again, I don't know anything about this stuff. Jeez Louise. I have no idea how to fix it. I should be able to fix it after the fact for like and I get a lot more views after the stream. So the live stream doesn't get a ton of viewers at once, but the afterward does usually get a bit more. So anyways, sorry about that. Sorry, thank you. Mango, I will fix that at some point. And definitely the YouTube version of it will have the correct title. I can't believe I did that. I was so nervous to hear your review while I worked this week. I'm glad that I came. I didn't even think about putting the title and name on my cover. Some people put a lot of, like, they have fun with it, with their book covers. A lot of people on Wattpad use AI. Yeah, Cherry's good at covers. Celadon Bay Stories is a graphic designer. He made his book cover and it looks really good. Cherry just is helpful to everybody always. She does a lot of stuff in her free time just for her friends. So, but yeah, you can have somebody help you with it. You can use Canva, which is a free website for kind of stuff like this. That's what I made my cover. Well, yes, my book cover on. I have a different book that is not, I unpublished it from Wattpad, but I did have a book on there. That was made on Canva. Canva's a good place to start. And Cherry did help me with that one as well. She got rid of all the things around the wispy hairs that were there. But yeah, you should just put one. Just put the name. Like, I don't think it's a bad cover. I think that less is more when it comes to book covers. I always like the minimalist ones. That's kind of like my preference. But some of them do look really, really cool. And they're a little bit more complicated, but some of them are a true mess. And then some of them are just really weird. You can get, there's tons and tons of books on Wattpad you can get some ideas from. Just make sure it represents your book. You know, you don't want to have something crazy on it that is going to be misleading, because I feel like you'll lose readers there. But anyways, great book. Sorry that you were nervous about my review. I am very honest about my feedback. And I mean, if you've watched any of my past reviews, you can probably tell I'm pretty honest about my feedback. But I thought it was good. I think you have a talent. I think that you should keep writing for sure. And I will definitely want to finish this book once it's done. So I was researching you were researching my past pods. Oh, so you did see that I'm honest with my feedback. No, it's not helpful because I've read a lot of review books on Wattpad because I like book recommendations, right? I think it's great. And I want to see, I like to look at things through a critical eye. I like constructive criticism. It's great. So I'll read review books and see what people have to say about books that I've already read. And sometimes I'll read like a really, really terrible book on Wattpad. And there's a bunch of things that are terrible about it. And it's just because the person's new or I've read one that was very obviously written with AI. And it's like, I don't know, when I see a review and the review is like, oh, it's great, 10 out of 10. And every single book on that review book is 10 out of 10. That helps nobody. It helps nobody to be reviewing books positively when it's not all positive, you know? A lot of my feedback is my personal preference, which I wish there was a way to get away from it. But again, I'm an amateur, so the only thing I can provide is my preference. So definitely take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm just trying to be helpful. I'm not trying to be critical for the sake of being critical. I'm not trying to be positive for the sake of being positive. I'm just trying to give you my completely honest thoughts. That's why I call it honey roasted. I appreciate the time that you put into your book. But I still want to roast you. I still want to say, even if I read a book that I absolutely adored, I'd still want to come back with some type of criticism because the person is asking for a review in order to improve, I would imagine, unless you're just one of those people who's asking for a review because you want to hear how great you are. Screw that. I'm not going to give you that. I'm going to tell you something that I wish was different about it. I know I really liked the book I really liked the book I read last week too. So that's 2 for 2. I've got 2 books that I liked under my docket. And I don't remember what I read before that one. I just realized I don't remember a lot of them. I remember Celadon Bay. But anyways, that's how I like to review books. If there's any more questions, if you have want feedback on a specific part or want clarification, you obviously know how to reach me. You can ask me right now too, and I'd be happy to provide my insight since I just finished the book. I literally finished it last night, so it's all very, very fresh in my head. So if you have any questions, definitely ask me now, or ask me whenever you have questions. Or if you have a new chapter and you want me to look it over, just tell me. I'm happy to. And you can do it in the book club, and then everybody will read it and give you feedback. It's fun getting feedback. It's like, that's what makes Wattpad so great, is you get like real-time feedback, paragraph by paragraph. Oh, I hated that character. Good, you're supposed to hate him. Oh, I hated that character. Oh crap, you're not supposed to hate that character. I remember the first time I wrote my book, the first time around, it was like this one person hated my main character. They thought that they were so annoying. And I was like, you're not supposed to think they're annoying. You're not supposed to think that they are, stupid or anything. So, yeah. Yes, this is so fun. Vane Baby, if you have a book, or if you're on Wattpad, you should definitely check it out. But yeah, Wattpad's a blast. It's so fun to get feedback on your stuff. And it's so fun getting Wattpad notifications that somebody's voted on your book, but it is so ridiculously fun to read comments. Like, I swear there's nothing like it in the world. And like Wattpad's one of the only places where you can get that. So it's almost, even if you had like an amazing, like the best book ever, you just want to express your appreciation. I know the story idea has potential. It's not just the story idea that has potential. It's your writing. Your writing is good. I like the way that you write. Like I don't know how much time you put into this, but or if you like really, really wordsmithed it all, but I thought it was great. I liked the way that you write. I wanted more of like the character information, but I thought the actual storytelling was, it's funny because it was like, I want to say, oh, the storytelling was so good, but the storytelling needed work because I wanted more from the character side of things. Like I wanted like more of the living in that character type of stuff, but it was good. It's a good one. It's so short. It's definitely not like a novel. It's a novella, if anything, maybe even short story. I don't know what the like word count, there's like specific word counts that are like short story, novella, novel, and then I think epic novel or something like that. I don't quote me on any of this. Hello there, Blade Stark like Game of Thrones Stark, Blade Stark like Longclaw. Wait, hang on, I have to remember the Stark. Assuming that this is a Game of Thrones thing, it's going to take me a second, but I'm going to remember the name of the family, Valyrian Steel Blade in Game of Thrones. It's the huge one, and then they split it into two. Tywin Lannister splits it into two. I want to say it's Ice something. Blade Stark, if you know, let me know. Hello there. Welcome to my stream. Dang it. It's not. I am German and thought they sounded cool when I was 10. You're 100% right. You are 100% right, Blade Stark. That is a very, very cool name. And 10-year-old you is genius. I don't know how old you are now, but I can only imagine how smart you are if you came up with the name Blade Stark at 10. I'm trying to think of my name when I was 10, my online name. I probably wasn't on the internet. When I was 10, I don't think the internet was quite a thing. Maybe? Thanks, I'm 20 now. Dang, twice as smart. You should come up with all kinds of names. I could... Blade Stark. Well, now I'm going to be thinking about what the Stark house knife, the sword thing is called. That massive thing. I forget. Anyways, all done with the 5-year white belt. Excuse me for writing that wrong. I want to go over my Christmas haul now. So that's what we're going to do. I'm very excited for my Christmas haul. It's going to be great. And by a Christmas haul, I mean